Hello, let's start creating our first APIM in Azure portal. First, we need to go to the portal azure.com. After a successful login, we're going to go to the subscription. We'll find the subscription we want that APIM instance to be created in. I only have one. Now we need to go one step further down. Is resource group. We select a resource group for that APIM, for our first APIM that we want to create. And now click on the create on top. So what we need to search is API Management. There is only one, and it's usually the first one. As usual, it asks for the subscription and resource group. Because we are in the same subscription and resource group, we don't need to enter them, which region we want them. Resource name, I'm gonna call it APIM demo 1 test. Please note that the resource name should be unique across Azure. And if we create the first instance and decide to delete it and create another one with the same name, there is a kind of gap time that need to be passed, otherwise you can't create. Assume it is because Microsoft wants to remove the DNS and remove all the entries across its servers around the globe. So there is a gap about 24 hours. I can't remember the exact time, but if you want to create the same one with a short period of time, maybe less than 2 or 3 hours, you get an error that this API exists and you can create another one. However, let's continue with the organization name. I'm gonna call local demo. Administrative email is gonna be mine or yours for your instance. For pricing, there is a big difference here. So let's look at the pricing and see pricing APIM. First link. So this is the classic tiers, developer basic standard premium and isolated consumption. These are not available, or at least we can see. Let's see, we can see them here. Yeah, we can see them here, but yeah, we are not going to use them. We're going to use the developer tier. Why? Because it's the closest one to the premium, but way cheaper, $76. Yes, the region is correctly selected, currency is correctly selected, and we are looking at the monthly cost. If we select another region, this cost may be a bit different. So let's, for example, look at New Zealand and see if, okay, Australian dollar, yeah. Yeah, you see, some of them are changing, but not all of them. Yeah, let's go to the Australia East. Australian dollar and month. So it's about $76 for developer tier and about $4,000 for the premium tier. If you scroll down, you can see it has virtual network support, but none of these ones. Consumption basic or standard have support for that one, so it's a critical feature for security. But premium and premium and isolated, they have it. This is gonna be another tier soon. It's called V2 tier. It's gonna come in the future. And as you can see here, we don't have developer tier. And Microsoft has removed the support for virtual network for the basic tier. So the closest one that we can deploy securely and do our test is the standard, which costs about $1,000 per month. Not ideal, but possibly the closest one. Premium V2 gonna support remote integration and injection. Getting back to our To the pricing tier, we're going to select developer tier. We go to the next section, which is about monitoring and security. We can use the logs, the log analytics, or it can create log analytics in conjunction with this one. So if I select it, I have to select the default space, or Microsoft Defender for API, or application insight. Skip these ones. We're going to go to the next one, which is about virtual network. For simplicity, we're going to select none, but we're going to cover this topic in another section. We have to use private network, private endpoint, or virtual network, which we'll cover later. So go to the next. We click on the next, and we go to manage identity. Manage identity is a critical concept because it allows different resources to be accessible by the APIM without without using the credential and user and password. This is a critical step. As you know, we have two types of managed identity. One is system and the other one user identity. This one creates a system assigned managed identity. So if we search for what's managed identity in Azure, we can get a good description of that one. And if we search for API managed identity, it's gonna take us to this page, which explains how we can do it later. However, as I was saying, there are two types of managed identity: system assigned identity, system assigned identity, or user assigned. The good side about, or the positive side of the system assigned is easier to create, but the downside is that when we delete them, if we delete a resource, that system assigned gonna be deleted, and if we need to create another resource with even exactly the same name, a new system assigned identity gonna be created, and a new identifier gonna be assigned to it. So we cannot reuse the previous one. But if we go with the user assigned identity, we can keep it, and we can keep that identity, and even if we delete the resource, we can use the same identity provided, the same managed identity that we created. So in short, user assigned is reusable, system assigned is not. So for simplicity, we're gonna click this one, go to the tags. We don't need any tags at this moment. Review and install. It takes about 45 minutes, and we receive an email that this instance has been created. So I'm gonna create, and we're gonna go to the rest of these topics, to the rest of the APIM later when the deployment is in place. Thanks for watching. Any questions, let me know please.